Remember when it died during my 50 lap July and I got kicked from the race? Great times. Great times, man. Nick streamed Forza Horizon too early today. That's cool, man. Alright, it's time. It's 0-0. Start the stream. Start the stream. I'm not following them, apparently. Okay, guys. Should I get rid of my face now or later? Well, you guys don't want to see my face. Let's get rid of that. And also, let's close that. We don't need that anymore. Goodbye, guys. Let's watch the stream. Don't worry, you guys can still hear me for now.
Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to the third Forza Horizon 4 stream, and this week we're taking a look at winter. In the previous weeks we've been taking a look at different seasons, but we're going to now have a look at winter and how it changes Britain completely. But here's what's coming up in the show. We've got so much stuff packed for you guys. We're going to be taking a look at the first time for winter in the game with two of the developers who made it. We've got new information on a brand new feature in the game, Car Mastery. There's also a more detailed look at the returning Forzathon feature. And we've also got an exclusive deep dive into the amazing UI of Forza Horizon 4, which I know a lot of you have been really blown away by in the last few weeks. We're also going to be having some fun, right? Smashing some of the little boards around the hidden away, which are a big part of the Forza Horizon universe. But we've also got a big giveaway for you guys. So if you're watching over on mixer.com/Forza Motorsport, you're going to be having a chance of winning this in-game cosmetic item. So if you're watching there, get involved in the chat, ask questions, let us know what you think, and you could get this awesome jumper because, right, I'm also joined by everyone, by Ralph and Ben, who've been involved for all the streams so far. Okay, Ralph, the creative director, and also Ben, the art director. Thank you very much. Like a couple of weeks ago, Ralph, you said winter is your favorite season. Right? Why is that?
Well, I hope everyone gets to see tonight why I said that. It's still absolutely my favourite season. It's come together really, really well in the game as we've been putting it together these last couple of years. For me, it is the most visually different season. It's really strikingly different from every other season. It's incredibly beautiful, and it also has such a range of gameplay as well, such a range of driving experiences, from deep snow that you're going to plow through, icy roads. Also, there's some roads that don't have any snow in them at all. So you get the full range of Horizon gameplay within the beautiful wintry world of Britain.
Yeah, because like the world, as you said, has completely changed. And Ben, being the art director, you must have had to put so much work and effort to change that world. Is it the biggest challenge that you've had through all the seasons?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. It was definitely it's the biggest visual change, as Ralph said. So that comes with a whole new set of challenges that we had to get our teeth stuck into and find some really good solutions to. So yeah, we're going to be seeing the world very differently to the way we've been seeing it before. We're actually starting off in the same location we were in last week, so you're going to get to see how much that one location changes.
Yeah, so for anyone who's interested in kind of like going back and checking how much this world changes, you can go back and watch the VODs of the previous streams, because we've already looked at summer and autumn, which have been awesome, but we're going to be looking at winter today. Also, if you guys have got any questions at all for Ralph or Ben, do make sure to get involved in the Mixer chat and remember that giveaway as well. But should we kind of get into some gameplay? Because I think that's what everyone always wants to see, is like the changes, and we can go into it. So if we kick it off, Ben, why don't you kind of get us started in like kind of the art?
Sure. Okay, so we're starting off, as I said, in the same location as last week. So we're in Glen Rannoch, which is a combination of those two Scottish locations that I mentioned last week. And as you can see, this is the north of the map, so we've got some real heavy, dense snowfall going on here. And that's something that is specific to different areas of the map. So the more elevation you get in the world, you'll get thicker snow. As you get a bit more south, you'll get like less snow, but maybe more frost, more wet roads, that kind of thing. So there's everything makes sense in terms of where the snow will be in the world.
It does look beautiful as well. I think that's one of the biggest things, is like all the little details. Because I want to kind of get into the water, because I know one of the biggest features is that the lake itself is frozen over. And I know there's been a lot of questions of people going, is all the water in the game going to be frozen, or is it just going to be the lake? How's it going to play out?
Not at all. I think you'll see tonight. It's kind of a mix, and like Ben says, it's all about really the altitude of the particular area of the world, which determines whether the water is frozen or not. But also, I think that really helps gameplay, because it's super fun to go drifting out on a frozen lake. But we also still want to have gameplay where you can splash through lakes, splash through rivers as well. And you really get all of that in the winter season. And I think eagle-eyed viewers will recognize this, as Ben said, from last week. We're at the sort of Glenfinnan Viaduct. This is, I think we're right up at the top of this mountain that we're kind of at the foot of.
Racing
right
that
now.
giant hovercraft.
With the hovercraft and the other stuff. But it's just the perfect place to show how completely the world changes, from season to season, and particularly autumn to winter. Last week we had all those really sort of striking reds and oranges and browns, and now the world is carpeted in white. And like, this is what I'm talking about. I think this completely different, really sort of stark aesthetic is just it's stunning to drive in. It's stunning to look at. And it's why this is totally my favourite season.
Yeah, I also think just one thing to touch on just before we kind of go into it even more is, guys, do remember this is a developer version of the game, so there could be bugs, there could be crashes, as we found out last week. Like, hopefully,
it has happened.
Has happened a couple of times, but we'll just kind of be taking a look at everything. So Ben, I know, right, you're going to hate me for asking this question again. It's my normal thing, because one of the things, like, looking through the world, okay, is one of the biggest changes from season to season that you can really see is the trees and how they've changed.
Yeah.
Right, so how's that working in the winter season?
So as you can see, they've lost all their leaves. That's the thing that happens in winter.
After you work so hard on the leaves.
After we spend so much time getting the leaves looking just right, we strip them all off in winter. It's obviously a very different look. Again, it sort of plays into what Ralph was saying, and also I think we've heard quite a few people saying, "What did you learn from the development on Blizzard Mountain?" And is winter just like the experience we had in Blizzard Mountain? It's totally not, right? It's a brand new visual as well, I would say, in that obviously Australia has all those gum trees that keep their leaves all the time, they never drop them. So actually there was something really satisfying for the art team this time to produce this kind of skeletal horizon that you get with all the trees losing their leaves in winter. It's a look we've never had in a Horizon game before, which is...
And I kind of naively at the start of this project, I thought that winter trees would be the easiest because you didn't have to do leaves.
Oh yeah,
Turns out, not the case at all.
No,
Actually, performance-wise, much more difficult.
That's true. Yeah, that was a surprise to everybody on the art team. But yes, it turns out the winter trees, they're even more difficult to do.
They're a lot more difficult to get all that snow on there, right? There's one thing, because there is so much snow, right, in winter, as we've seen. Is there going to be parts of the world that aren't covered in snow, or is it just kind of...
Totally, yeah. And I think that's a really important thing for us in not just winter and all the seasons, is making sure that you can do all of the things you want to do in a Horizon game in that season.
Yeah.
And that's true of all the seasons. It was probably most challenging to make sure it was true in winter. Because obviously snow makes things harder, right?
Yeah.
Frost, ice makes it more difficult to drive. What we really didn't want to happen was that winter be this big difficulty spike within the game. So we've done a bunch of things to try and avoid that. But one of them is to make sure that there are still, as Andy just destroys a child snowman, like callously. One of the things is to make sure that there are loads of roads in the world which actually aren't covered in snow, that you can still take a hypercar out on and not have a terrible accident. You've got that total range of gameplay, which means I think as you saw there, we were just driving on the frozen Derwent water. There's probably a greater range of gameplay available in winter than almost there is in any other season.
Yeah, but it still suits all those different driving styles that you want to kind of get involved in.
Exactly.
There's a few questions from the chat as well. Motorized RC has just asked, how do seasons change?
So that's a good question. The seasons change weekly for everyone. So it depends on whether you're in the game at the time the season changes or not, how you'll experience it. If you are, and it's entirely possible that I think most people won't be playing the game at exactly the moment the season changes, because it will change at the same time for absolutely everyone, regardless of time zone. But if you are, then the game will start counting down. It'll be really clear saying that the season is going to change in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute. And then when it does, as long as you're not doing anything, which is to say you're not in the middle of an event, for example, we'll take you out of that. We'll show you a season transition cinematic, and when the game fades back up, 20 seconds or so later, you will be in the next season. If you're not in the game when the season changes, as I say is more likely, when you return to the game, you boot it again, you return from suspend, the game will just say, hey, the season's changed, it will play that transition cinematic, and you'll just start from where you left off.
Straight into it.
Yeah.
So also, one thing to just quickly look at as well is the last week we took a look at the map, very briefly for autumn.
We did.
Autumn, but we kind of have a quick look at the map for winter, which is also, we're going to show across all the social channels. So if you look at Twitter, Forza Motorsport, or Instagram, @Forza Motorsport Official, you can see the full winter map, because it has changed quite a lot.
Yeah, we're going to go into it now, I think.
Have a quick look into.
Yeah, very, very quick look. And yeah, like you say, completely changed. So there is a different map screen for each of the 4 seasons. This is obviously the winter one, which has to, recognise that the lake is frozen and a lot of the other water in the world is frozen as well. It brings in the seasonal championships for winter, and obviously it removes the ones from autumn. And then everything that sort of comes in just for that specific season, you can see on the map as well. But we'll.
Well, like,
out of it.
as said, everyone can go check that out on Twitter or Instagram if they kind of want to have a more detailed look at it. But we're going to say goodbye to you for a little bit. I know you're going to be joining us back in the stream shortly. But we've still got so much to come up in the stream as well. So thank you very much to Ralph and Ben for joining us for the start of the stream. But there's a more detailed look at the returning Forzathon feature. We've also got an exclusive developer deep dive into the amazing UI of Forza Horizon 4. We're also going to have some fun trying to smash all those deviously placed bonus boards, which are a staple for Horizon games. But right now, we're looking at car mastery, and Ralph isn't going anywhere, because Ralph is actually staying here.
Totally staying here.
Right, exactly. I'm talking about car mastery. But I think we're rejoined by Ben, who I think can tell us what is car mastery.
Hello again. Yeah, so car mastery. If I get straight into the menu to show you. Basically, this is our new way to earn skills and then spend those skill points on cars. So in Forza Horizon 2 and Forza Horizon 3, we had one kind of global set of perks that you could spend your skill points on.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of kind of good feedback from this. We really enjoyed using the system ourselves. It went down really well. One thing kind of we realized was that once you'd unlocked every perk, there wasn't really much else to do. You couldn't buy anything else. So we thought to ourselves, well, how do you beat having, a grid of 25 or even 3 times that from Horizon 3? And we decided, let's add a skill tree to every car. So we're now looking at the Ford Raptor F-150, and you can see that this is its car mastery tree. So starting in the bottom left here, we've got something that will give you some instant car collection influence. So that'll actually go towards your campaign that we were talking about last week. So I'm going to unlock that one. I'm going to move through the menu a little bit. Here's something that will give you a bonus in event finish influence. So again, going towards campaign. We've got some new ones. This is a big favourite of mine, Extra Life. So now each skill chain takes 2 collisions to break. So that's absolutely brilliant.
So if you want to get those drift zones, especially Forzathon Live, which we had a look at, right, doing those perfectly for those kind of drift spaces, unlock that, and if you've got the mastery, it's going to help you out massively in getting those changed. How do you go about earning the points?
So you earn the points by banking skills in the world. So the skill system is, as it kind of returns anything cool that you do, you'll get that instant feedback. So drifting, wreckage, air, you start kind of earning those at the top of the screen, and you chain them together, and they will build and build into a bigger and bigger combo, and then you bank all of those points, and as they kind of increase, you then earn skill points to spend here.
Right. So what are the ones that we have within the Ford Raptor space? So you've got that Extra Life.
Yeah. So this is all about cross-country racing, which is perfect. It's kind of what the car is built to do, really. So you've got there a kind of repeatable perk which will give you points for cross-country events.
Yeah.
You've got Wrecking Ball, you've got Air, all the kind of stuff that you would expect when you're barreling down the side of a mountain, smashing bushes, jumping over the top of hills, stuff like that. If we get into another car with a completely different tree, so let's get into something like, here we go.
Because this is the thing, what kind of justifies the kind of different skill trees that you're going to be getting with the cars? Is it kind of going to have, is every car type going to have specific like skills that you can unlock? Because I know it's going to range from like 5 to 25 skills, is it? For each car, what kind of decides that?
So there's up to 16 kind of perks within a mastery tree.
Yep.
And the cost of those perks ranges anything from like one simple kind of skill point all the way up to 25. In terms of what you get within a car, it's really what the car is designed to do. So that Raptor we saw was all about cross-country racing and how you kind of boost those skills. This Forza Edition Ford Capri with its like jacked up suspension, massive tyres, which is perfect for dirt racing, you can see it's got Dirt Monster there, which is a perk which will benefit you in dirt racing events. And everything else is the kind of thing that you would expect in dirt racing. So again, we've got things like Drift, which is something that rally cars are quite iconic for. You've got Sideswipe, which is when you destroy something as you're drifting, as well as some really, really cool ones like this perk here means your skill multiplier builds twice as fast. So again, that goes back to the Forzathon Live stuff we were talking about.
And then
week.
if you're doing that with a skill multiplier so it builds faster, is that a way of earning more points quickly?
Yeah.
Because like this was one of the big features that I got really excited about, and like this is the thing is that you can build the masteries of the car, but it sticks to that specific car.
That's right. I think that's the best thing about this feature actually is you can earn masteries and complete this skill table for each like individual instance of a car, but if you get another Ford Capri Forza Edition, it will start with a blank skill tree, and then you can actually spend your skill points and build that one up as well. And what's doubly great about it is that you can actually sell a completely mastered car on the auction house, for example.
Yep.
And that could have real value, I think.
Yeah.
This is the thing, right? This I can already see what people are going to do, because this is the first thing that popped into my head when I heard about this. Because everyone wants Edinburgh Castle, right? The most expensive player house. You can just like perfect a certain style of driving in a certain car and just become the ultimate like Veyron, like McLaren Senna kind of dealer. Just like, all right, I'm going to learn how to master this car every single time. They start flogging them off in the auction house.
Exactly, yeah, and people will come to you for their like completely mastered Veyron or Senna. And I think the other thing about this, you don't just, I think I'm right in saying, you don't just get to spend the skills you earn in that car on this car. That's a very complicated way of saying it, but
absolutely right. All skill points are global. So if you've got a car that you absolutely love banking skill chains in, or it's a car that's particularly brilliant at that because all of its perks accelerate like earning points back, you get in this really nice kind of brilliant cycle where you get into a car like, say, a kind of unicorn car, of all of its perks unlocked, you start earning loads of points, and then you get into new cars, and then you spend them, and then you're getting the benefits from those, and then you're back into the unicorn, earning more points, and it just kind of goes like that.
It's an awesome feature for people to take advantage of. Also, guys, for those watching, remember, if you've just tuned into the stream, we are doing a little giveaway as well for in-game cosmetic items. All you got to be doing is get involved in the Mixer chat over on mixer.com/Forza Motorsport, and you have a chance of winning that particular in-game customization item, which you can then use once Forza Horizon 4 comes out. So get involved and you'll get a whisper, so you have a chance of winning one, which is really, really cool. We've also got a couple little questions that have come in. So from Thunderbird, he says, will barn finds be affected by seasons?
So that's a good question. I think that the biggest way in which they are affected is that there are some which are season specific. So there are certain barn finds which will only appear in certain seasons, and we've talked about one previously, which is the really obvious example, the one that's on an island in the lake, which you can only get to when it's frozen in winter, for example. But actually, I think each season has a seasonal barn find, which is only available during that season.
Yeah. So because I saw one that was on. Actually, can I spoil the location roughly? I saw one earlier. I just don't know if I want to ruin it.
Sure, yeah.
Right, on the middle of the lake, there was like a little barn found.
That's like literally the one I just mentioned. Yeah.
I had a little mind blank.
Oh, yeah.
It happens sometimes. I'm sorry. So there's 450 cars in the game.
Yeah. 450
cars in the game, which you can kind of go. Do you reckon anyone's going to be able to master those? Like, how long do you reckon it's going to take?
I honestly don't.
Someone will. Someone somewhere will do it.
Have you done the math on how many?
No, and I don't even do it myself.
I know, right.
Someone will, like we always say.
Yeah.
How much time do you reckon it'll take?
It's a long time.
It'll take a long time.
Do you know what? Players always surprise us. But there's always a bunch of things we say, oh, no one will ever be able to do that, and someone does it ridiculously fast.
I hope someone does.
Yeah.
Send us a screenshot if they do.
Yeah, I think we should kind of have a look at Forzathon, because last week we obviously took a look at Forzathon Live for the very first time, but that's not all there is to Forzathon. So, Ben, could you kind of tell us everything else there is to know?
Yeah, let's go through it. So, this is the main Forzathon screen. So last week we were looking at Forzathon Live, which is your kind of promise that every hour, on the hour, there'll be something cool to do, and that'll give you Forzathon points, which was kind of a new currency we touched on.
Yeah.
And we spoke about how you spend those in the Forzathon shop. So beyond every hour, we wanted to make sure that players had something to do every day. So you now get daily challenges, and those are maybe the closest to Forza Horizon 3's Forzathon. So they're like bite-sized challenges that you can do. So you can see some there in the middle of the screen. You've got like earn 5 ultimate air skills. We've actually already completed that one and got our points from it. Some awesome near-miss skills or ultimate skill chains. They're like kind of quick things to do. And they will come through. You'll get 1 daily challenge a day, but you don't have to absolutely complete it that day. We tend to, we allow you to keep kind of 3 in stock, so to speak. So if you've been away for the weekend and you come back on Monday, you've still got, you know, the last couple of days worth, so you can quickly rattle those off.
And they're kind of analogous, I guess, to if anyone's played Forza Horizon 3, which is the first game we had Forzathon in, and are familiar with those challenges, they're kind of analogous to the challenges that we had in Forzathon in FH3, right? And that they are pretty easy to do. You can knock them off like almost without knowing it, as we have. But there's not a big time investment involved in doing them, but there is this reward.
Yeah, they're really simple. In fact, we often find that when we're testing the game internally, you'll be doing daily challenges without really thinking about it. But it's like a nice reminder that Forzathon's there and giving you rewards. So beyond daily challenges, we wanted to make sure that you've got something to do every week. And so this is where the weekly challenge comes in place. And the weekly challenge is all about getting into like a particular kind of special car, like maybe something like a Nissan GTR or a particular type of car. So here we've got the vintage racer type. And this will give you more points than a daily, like many more points than a daily, but it'll take a lot more work to do, like half an hour, an hour's kind of play. And there's usually 4 stages to do in a weekly challenge. So you can see here, the first one is like owning and driving a vintage racer. So let's say that we've got that. We then go through, and here is earning 2 particularly tricky skills to get during races. So there's like a really cool thing to do in that car, and it's kind of leading you on a bit of a story.
Yeah.
Do all 4, and you get all of the Forzathon points.
So that's how I know, kind of compared to a daily challenge, you can get a lot more points, but it's a lot more work to put in to kind of do it. But it will give you different experiences, because you're going to have like the Antiquated Roadshow one, but so the following week, what could you have a completely different challenge as well?
Could be classic muscle, could be like the Nissan GTR, like I was saying, Bugatti Veyron. Using the Veyron as an example, you'll be doing things like, you know, driving above 250 miles an hour for 5 minutes non-stop and stuff like that. Like challenges that are perfect for that type of car.
And I'm right in saying that you have to do these in order, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's kind of a little bit of a story, a little bit of a progression.
It is a bit of a story.
Yeah. I see we've got Max British with our challenge names here.
Antiquated Roadshow.
Yeah,
Similar to
Jolly Good Show. Excellent.
Jolly Good.
Similar to television. A Dickens of a job there as a
I saw that one also.
Before we kind of go through a bit more Forza stuff and Forzathon, we've just got a couple more questions from the chat. Because guys, remember, if you've got any questions about anything that we're discussing, whether it's winter or any of the new features, drop them in the mixer chat, and then Ben or Ralph could answer them for you. But Oliver Watley's just asked, is there still the convoy feature in the game?
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's still the convoy feature. However, convoy is now your way of grouping up with other players. And we've spoke and shown a lot of the really awesome kind of anti-grief stuff we've got, including Auto Ghost. So you know how you're driving around free roam and people can't ruin your game by crashing into you. Well, when you convoy with other people, collisions are back on, because this is a way of you saying, I'd like to have that experience with these people who I know. So it's like perfect for tandem drifting and things like that.
Yeah, and Batteries has also just asked, is there still an auction house? Which we just touched on a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah, there is still an auction house, absolutely. Yeah.
Which people are going to be able to take advantage of, which is, especially with all those new features. But should we have a look at the rest of the Forzathon section?
Yeah, so we went through, there's something to do every hour,
yeah,
every day, every week, and you've got your Forzathon points. What can you spend them on? So here you go, Forzathon shop. And you can see that there's a really nice collection of rare items in the game. And the way the Forzathon shop works is, every week when the season changes, its stock refreshes. You don't lose any of your Forzathon points. You can save them up as long as you want and just wait for the perfect item in here that you want to get. And the way to think about this is that it's a way to guarantee getting a reward without any RNG completely ruining it for you every time you go through something like Wheelspin. Like, I'm desperate for that particular Forza edition. Like the Capri that I was in when I was going through the Mastery stuff. You can see there that it's in the shop and it's got a price, and that gives you something to save up for, so you can guarantee that that's what you're going to get instead of trying your luck with Wheelspin.
Also, is there ever going to be any like exclusive items in the Forzathon shop that you're not going to be able to get in the game like elsewhere?
Don't think so. No, we don't. We don't want to get anything in the any content in the game behind a specific feature.
Yeah.
We haven't, gated any behind this feature, so it'll all be stuff that you can get in different ways throughout the game. But like Ben says, it's the perfect sort of shop front to come to and get that thing that you really want and just hasn't been landing for you in Wheelspin.
Can you use like your in-game money or like real money to kind of be able to kind of speed up the process of getting these like kind of Forzathon points so you can like kind of shortcut?
Just Forzathon points, yeah. You can't use in-game cash.
So nothing else, which is awesome. But like the thing is so we've take a look at all the items that you can get a hold of. Like what kind of like costings and everything like that, is that all kind of still TBC?
I think we're still working on that, yeah.
Still filling it out a little bit. I mean, you can see on the screen that a Forza Edition car costs more than, a kind of, I say a normal car, it's still a GTR R34, which is awesome, but we're still, working out the earn rates and costs.
Yeah. That's awesome. But before we move on to the next section, Infamous Creations has just asked, are there rewards and perks for being a painter or tuner, right, in Forza Horizon 4?
Yes. I would refer them to the VOD of last week's show, actually, where we sort of dug into the campaign mode, the Horizon Life. Now, by being a painter and a tuner, you can actually progress your campaign in a way that you've never been able to before. So you will be able to, through being successful as a tuner or as a painter, you'll be able to earn influence, you'll be able to level up and progress towards being a Horizon superstar, which is the goal of the game. And I think that's really cool because we know lots of people spend a lot of their time in the paint shop. This is a way now for them to see real fruits of that within the game's progression.
Yeah. Right, so anyway, thank you very much for talking to us through Forzathon. We've got so much more stuff coming up on the show. Big thank you to Ralph and Ben for chatting us through. Ralph will be returning in a little bit. Ben, I think you're finished with us for today.
Yep,
so,
finished.
But thank you very much for talking us through everything. Once again, guys, remember all the information. You can go back and watch the VODs if you want to kind of catch up or check back on any of the information that comes up on these streams. But we've still got so much more to come through on the stream. So we're going to be finding and smashing some of the tricky to find bonus boards. So stay tuned for tips on where they are in the game. And also, if you've just joined us, where have you been? Because you've missed a tour around the map in winter, more info on Forzathon, but don't worry, check back the VOD after the stream so you don't miss anything. Now, since we started these live streams, something I keep seeing in the comments is how blown away people are with the UI and presentation in this game. And presentation is always amazing in Horizon games, but this game has been taken to a new level. So I've been joined by Matt and Rich from the team to kind of talk us through all the UI features, which I'm really excited about kind of seeing more of and hearing about. So thank you so much for joining us. So Matt, first of all, you've worked on Forza since the very beginning.
Very well, yeah. I think it's been 8 years now. So yeah, it's been quite a whirlwind. But watching the studio just thrive alongside with this series, it's just been great. It's a real privilege.
It must be really exciting to see how far it's come as well.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I'm really proud of the team. They've done a great job this time.
Also, favourite season? I always ask this to everyone.
Probably autumn, but autumn in the kind of golden hour kind of stuff. I really like doing the photography kind of stuff. So when that light just gets really low and you're getting the falling leaves and stuff like that.
Don't talk to Ben about the leaves. He goes on about it for hours. Rich, as well, you're the lead UI artist, right? How has it been kind of working with the team and like kind of getting this all put together?
Yeah, it's been great. I'm lucky enough to like work with a fantastically talented team. So like our job is to mainly focus around like the presentation of the game. So we're looking at like menu systems, the HUD, and dealing with like things like motion graphics. So yeah, so it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest places to start would be kind of where you kind of draw the inspiration for the UI, because it's like so slick and cool to look at. Like what kind of do you do to kind of bring it all together?
Yeah, sure. Do you mind if I
steal the controller?
Steal the controller. Sorry. Yeah, so if we dive into the pause menu, so for us, given that Horizon 4 is kind of set in a modern day setting, it only kind of makes sense for us to, when we're gathering reference at the beginning of the project, to lend to that and gather modern day, like cutting edge graphic design references. So, motion graphics, like advertising, things like that. Those sorts of stuff's really useful for us. And what we tend to do is kind of gather that information and wrap it around what we like to call our core pillars. And we can kind of communicate those as words, which we have scattered around the office.
Yeah.
So we have things like fun, freedom, and beauty. So what we then do is kind of distill our reference and focus them around these pillars. So for things like fun and beauty, we've really like pushed through things like the vibrancy that you're seeing in the UI now, the playful nature. I think in comparison to what we've had before, is really like coming through. And for things like freedom, again, if you compare what we've had previously to now, our menu's a lot more flexible.
Yeah.
Which is great because it allows us to be a lot more creative with how we like show things, and also surface game features a lot more successfully.
Yeah, because there's so many little aspects to kind of piecing the whole UI together. You must have some favorites, like favorite components and parts.
Yeah, I've got a few favorites. So I'd say there's a couple of big wins for me personally. So like looking on the home tab now, like we have a radio tile, which is great. So even though it's off right now, unfortunately.
Everyone's like, turn it on, just like, turn it on.
So usually that would showcase like album art.
Yeah.
But I think having a radio tile in the pause menu now is great. It's an awesome way of kind of linking the UI to the festival. Even though you're in this like, you know, standalone space, there's still that kind of visual connection going on.
Yeah.
As well as that, we've got the weather tile, and actually like showcases what temperature we have in the game right now.
Yeah, because that's going to affect how the gameplay plays and feels.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really useful like tool. But also I think it kind of like brings a bit of authenticity to the UI, which we haven't had before. So like, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. But yeah, they're kind of like small like wins for us. But I think one of the biggest things that I'm proud of, and I think a lot of people in the studio are proud of, is what we've deemed our white space.
And I know this is what Matt is kind of like really happy about, because you've put a lot of work into this. Kind of, can you talk us a little bit more about the white space?
Yeah, it's been a lot of work. You can kind of see it there in the background. But to speak about the series in general, the Horizon series has really had quite a unique visual identity. I think that goes right the way back to the beginning when we had this desire to really sort of push a youthful and energetic feel into everything we did, and that went through to the cinematics. And, and as we've worked through all the games, we've tried to iterate that a little bit with the cinematics. But then coming off the back of Horizon 3, Rich, I remember me and you talking quite a lot about wanting to just push it a little bit further and see if we might be able to sort of fuse the UI and the cinematics together as like a cool thing. So we went away and we started like pulling together a bunch of different ideas. We put that in front of the team. I think that really started to resonate. So then from there it just started to cascade into a bunch of other features. So what we can show you in a minute when we get into a race is kind of
the white space.
The white space. Yeah.
It's quite exciting because we've seen it a few times throughout all the races that we've gone into over the past couple of weeks. I love it when you go into a showcase event.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, so there's a couple of reasons why we've kind of gone for this white space idea. So firstly, it just looks cool. It's really different to what we've done previously, but one of the things we really wanted to do this time is be able to control the lighting conditions and things when going into events or looking at the characters. And it's quite difficult to do that when you pull up to a race in the middle of a dark field in the middle of winter. So it's nice to be able to just take that and control the stuff and do some cool stuff to look at while we're waiting for everything to fall into place and load. So that was just a quick snippet of like the pre-race, and then if Andy can get around this race fast, we can probably show those eagle-eyed amongst you want to purchase our Get Ready OG video.
Not supposed to talk about that.
Yeah, that's not deliberate.
Do you reckon Andy's going to crash here? Because there's been a thing, he's had a lot of pressure on him the past couple of weeks. Everyone's like, I think everyone kind of like eggs him on a little bit and kind of slightly hopes he crashes. But do you reckon he's going to get around here in like quick time, or do you reckon he's going to like kind of crash? What does everyone in the chat think as well? Like, let us know. Do you think Andy's going to do this flawlessly and win the race, right? Because then we can kind of get that nice cinematic at the end, right? Or is he going to crash?
He never fails, does he? Really?
Don't tell him that, right? We're trying to. Is he the best racer in the office?
He may be, but you know, we don't like to tell him to his face.
Because what other bits have we got in the UI that you've kind of worked on with this section before we get to the white space?
Oh, we're literally about to jump to it, but...
Oh, we're about to finish.
About to finish. There. So if it works.
Right, here we go. He's drifted.
So one of the cool things about this as well, with like the finishing line, is that we know players like to spin and win across the line. So that's something we absolutely wanted to keep for that as well. So there was a lot of work that went into making sure that that looked all cool, and it worked. And it paid off. So it's really cool.
No, it looks awesome. I can't wait for people to kind of get involved and kind of like look at it for themselves, especially with like all the Forzathon, like all the major showcase events. There's so many cool little details. But big thank you so much for kind of like talking us through all the UI features. Remember, guys, if you've got questions, drop in the Mixer chat because we've still got so much. But big thank you to Rich and Matt for talking us through the UI. Thank you for doing it. But we've still got so much more to come up during the stream, guys. So make sure to stick around. One little thing as well, we do have that giveaway. So if we can kind of flash the image again up on screen for you, because if you're on mixer.com/Forza Motorsport, you have a chance of winning this in-game cosmetic item. You might get whispered a code in the chat. So just get involved, ask questions. But this is everything else we've got coming up in the stream. So for those of you that are wondering, so much more. We have got bonus boards. Okay, now this is going to be a really fun section. It's going to have pressure, it's going to have drama, and we're going to smash some boards up. And we're once again joined by Ralph and Ben for smashing up some boards. All right, last week we kind of drove through some mud, right? And we kind of we went through that mud, but this time going to be taking a look about bonus boards. So can we talk a little bit about the bonus boards in Horizon 4?
Let's. Because it feels like almost like a really tiny feature of Horizon games to spend any time talking about, but I kind of feel like it's been in every one of the Horizon games to date. Yeah. It started in the very first Horizon game when I think, in all honesty, we needed some like quite cheap gameplay to to put around the open world, and we thought, what could we hide around the open world that players could go find? But I think since then we've just got better at it. We've found the fun in it. We've found the different types of gameplay that can be involved in finding and smashing a bonus board, of which there are usually about 150 in the game. And I think certainly on Forza Horizon 3, and I think this is thanks to one of our designers, Matt Piper, a big shout out to him, who really sort of raised it kind of to an art form, hiding bonus boards in devious places around the world. And I had a ton of fun, playing the game at home once we launched on Horizon 3, spotting them, figuring out how he wanted me to go and go about smashing it. And he's done the same on this game, and that's kind of what we're going to be looking at just over the next few moments in game, just to pick out a couple of the most deviously hidden bonus boards, and we're going to be seeing if Andy has got the driving skills. Got the
skills. I almost feel that we should get a poll going on the chat if it's possible as well.
It feels hardly worth it.
What? I love polls. It's good fun. Like, mixer polls are great.
You do love a poll.
So I think we're going to the first one. All right. Do you reckon he's going to do it first try? Right.
So just to be clear, it's up in that top pipe there. He's having a look.
Can he drive up to it?
And this is kind of what I mean. Like, and there's a ton of these boards, right, which are just by the side of the road. I don't mean to say that all 150 are like sort of Nintendo-style puzzles, but there's a bunch of them which have got like some real sort of problem-solving or skill-based gameplay around them. This is definitely, I think, a little bit of both. It's a little bit of problem-solving, and now it's all about whether Andy's got the skill.
The thing is, right, we've seen him practicing a little bit earlier.
Quite a lot.
Saying a little bit, it's being generous. Here we go, is he going to do it? No. There's too much of that.
Feels really familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's just like he's hitting the floor again. We haven't seen this once at all.
No.
But I think that's the thing that I love so much about this, because it reminds me of the event that we actually saw at E3, where during the showcase you have to kind of thread the needle through the thing. It feels like it's a more extreme version of that.
You have to do it in midair, yeah.
You got to kind of like, no, hold on.
Oh.
No, it's too short. It's close. It was close. Like, how many attempts will it take? Okay, like 28% of hold on, what was it? 41% of people say it's going to take you more than 3. So
I like how 3 plus is
3 plus.
3 plus.
3 plus.
We're sitting here like 10 p.m. or something.
I think that's a wise place to put your money. Yeah.
Just put your feet up and come back to it. But it's true. It was like you're saying how well these are hidden around in the world. And is he going to? No, that was close. That was close. Because I was just kind of having a little drive about earlier, and I found one on top of the viaduct. and then you just kind of see this little board. Right. Here's the thing: you'll find yourself doing the rewind, like trying to perfect it.
There's one which I found is quite early in the game, and it's in the back garden of this little house in Broadway, which is in like sort of south of the map, and it's this beautifully kept back garden, and there's a children's football goal, and it's in the football goal, and you basically have to ruin this family's garden in order to.
Oh, there we go. Right, we got the first one. We got the first one. Round of applause. He's got right now. You can't see it, but he has got the biggest grin on his face. He's like, I've done it. You said it would take me loads of attempts. I'm here till 10 p.m. I've done it. Can't say anything now. And now we've got another board for him to try and smash. So we're gonna be here until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go and do a slightly different one. Is that where you're going? You want it? Oh, you're feeling emboldened.
He's feeling confident now. This is like one of the hardest ones I've seen so far because there's so many. Like,
in fairness, he didn't get close to this.
I mean, and it would be fair to say Andy was nearly in tears trying to do this.
I just love seeing like all the different effects and like kind of how the snow.
So it just occurred to me. This is the first time I think we're showing night in one of these streams, which is cool.
Yeah, so there's actually some really cool stuff that we're doing in night, which we've never done before, which is worth talking about. So you'll notice if people are watching closely that we've got proper shadow casting lights now from the car, which is a really cool new feature. It creates a sort of another dimension. You get all this form that you never used to get before, but also all of the environment stuff is doing the same stuff as well. So. It's a really cool new piece of tech. It looks particularly fancy when you're in a race with lots of other cars and they're all casting.
Yeah. It looks great in Edinburgh as well, which we will be showing next week. Next week we will be showing Edinburgh for everybody who's hanging out waiting for that tonight.
Right, but guys, remember, we are looking at winter. So if you've got any questions for winter, get them in the chat right now, because we've got loads coming up right now. Square Jacob has just asked, are there blizzards like in Forza Horizon 3?
There is some pretty extreme snowy weather,
we're stopping short of calling them blizzards.
I think we're stopping short of calling them blizzards. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Blizzard-like weather.
There's the blizzard-like weather. Yeah, there's
I mean, so if you're British, you would probably refer to it as a blizzard, but you know we do tend to exaggerate these things.
That is true.
That is a thing. But yeah, the weather really does descend, and the fogging and everything will get really thick, and you'll see lots of snow particles.
I know what you're saying.
Close.
Yeah, we've been here, haven't we?
Deja vu.
I know what you're saying. It doesn't. I don't think it gets as extreme as it did in Blizzard Mountain.
Yeah.
But the point of Blizzard Mountain was really like to turn that up to 11, because that was the experience. Like being on a mountain in a blizzard was kind of like the point behind that expansion.
Miles away.
I knew he was going to do it then.
Miles away.
So the book 92 said, what do super wheel spins do?
What do super wheel spins? Well, they're like wheel spins, but super basically. There are 3 reels rather.
I thought it was going to clip.
Pretty close. There are 3 wheels rather than 1, and I think I'm right in saying, and I'm kind of looking at Ben now across the monitor, I think there's like a more rare or legendary stuff goes into super wheel spins. So you get 3 things that stop, you win all of them, and you can win some of the best prizes in the game. And it is super awesome actually when they all land, and if you get 3 good things, it's pretty cool.
It's cool. So like I kind of, knowing my luck, I'm just going to have the worst wheel spin luck ever.
Oh,
it always happens. I've always got my fingers crossed, and then I'll fluke something. Hold on.
Oh.
I right. You've been trying this all afternoon, right? Can we get Ben and Ralph doing a little mini head-to-head?
Oh, no.
Must
Right.
be.
Right, can we get Ben and Ralph doing a little head-to-head on this one, right? Because Andy's been going at this all afternoon, okay, and he has struggled with it. He's come close many a time, right? But I feel like we should do like one go each between you guys and rotate and see who can do it first. Penalty shootout. Right, penalty shootout style, and let's get a poll in chat. Who do you think is going to win, Ralph or Ben? Who is going to smash the bonus board?
Wow. So I feel like
If you do this first
people's
time,
opinions
you're going
are
to
be
ruin.
coloured.
Oh dear.
Hold on. Right, you know that was in line. You just didn't
That was
have
all
the
right.
speed. You didn't have the speed.
Oh, sorry, I should have.
Okay,
for you.
but while Ben and Ralph are doing this, we can still ask questions. So get him involved in the Mixer chat. Ask any question you've got for Winter in Forza Horizon 4, anything
Totally
to do
giving
with
me
the
a line
game.
there.
Go ahead and answer them. And remember, if you're getting involved on mixer.com/Forza Motorsport, you have a chance of winning a in-game cosmetic item, which could be whispered to you as Ben goes flying miles away.
So it's over there?
It's over there.
Yeah,
Got it.
You need to go left, like, a lot more. It looks really easy. Like, you see it, it's just all you got to do is go down a tube and just turn left.
So there is a
no.
So yeah. There is
Rewind. Oh, also, Ben, all right, I'm just saying, I didn't do this, right? But someone has, the poll has put you as tree.
Oh, fantastic.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to point out, for those of you
But
wondering.
you are winning.
Right.
So shout out to the guy who was selling printer cartridges who sent me an email and actually referred to me as Tree in the email. That was great.
Did you
So
buy
it's like, hi,
any?
Tree. Did you?
I haven't bought any yet, but you know, I definitely will at some point.
At some point,
Yeah, at some point.
get those just for the tree point.
Wow,
But
yeah, like-
Tree, you've got 53% of the vote so far. So guys, if you haven't already voted, who do you think is going to win, Ralph or Tree? Right.
Oh, it's looking good.
That is good. That's good. It's good. It's good.
Oh! That's heartbreak.
Yeah.
No! You needed like 2 more miles an hour. It's going. So we've got another question from PTG. PTG Dan says, can you force a season change via a blueprint?
Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can choose when you blueprint an event, you can choose any of the seasons.
Right, so there we go. And also, Fizz says, is there still animals in winter?
Yes, there absolutely is, and they carve tracks in the snow just as the cars do.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you chase the sheep.
How are the sheep? What's the sheep's volume like?
The
Ralph?
sheep's volume.
Yeah.
It's quite voluminous.
The volume is at its highest.
Yeah.
That is highest.
You don't want those guys to get cold.
Ralph,
Right.
what you want to know you do?
That's
You
just
don't want to hit the first bit.
So I've just.
What you need to do is go through.
Through the.
I mean, I've just realised
through
we've
the
been at
pipe,
this for
right.
so long. The sun is coming back.
Yeah, yeah. It's when it sets again.
Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! No. Right. Okay. I'm giving this back to Andy.
They can't can I have one go to just go through the thing? Because I've looked at this all day, right, and I am determined that this cannot be that difficult. Right, this is, you know, that moment it can backfire.
Last words.
Right. Okay. Will we be able to change seasons in private free roam? Free roam.
No, you won't. No, you won't. So, except for using the blueprint system, you will be on the sort of server-controlled, or if you're offline, the system clock version, so that everybody experiences them at the same time.
All right, sweet. And are you guys ready for the single attempt? Right.
I mean,
And there we go.
that is pitiful.
Right, we're doing it with a barrel spin. Come on, please. Okay, no, I didn't have a spin. Right, guys, there's a rewind feature for a reason. I'm going to do one more and then pass it back to Andy, right? Because you know we've got questions to answer, and I just need a bit more speed. I don't come up with excuses, by the way. Like, it is,
No, that's I've noticed.
it's the occasional thing. But what other features are there in winter? So we've seen the snow, we've seen like the frozen lakes.
That.
It's a little tricky, isn't
Yeah,
it? So
yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
about the thread the needle mode. So I got riddled at E3. So with the one on the showcase which had the bikes in it, I went in and practiced before our live stream, which Ben was involved in a lot, and I oh that's it.
Oh, it was,
I mean, that's
I'm sorry.
cool.
I went for style points as I passed to Andy. Right? You know, I didn't want to smash the board. I wanted Andy to do it. So should we kind of have a look at a race? Because we've looked at some of the
Let's do
bonus
that.
boards. Should we go have a look at a race and see how that kind of changes in winter compared to the other seasons? That we've looked
Yes,
at?
yes.
And also remember, guys, if you want to go check out the other seasons, the VODs are available that you can go watch. You can go check it out so you can see what the game looks like in summer and autumn. And next week we are going to be looking at spring on Tuesday as well. And Andy is finding it hard to move away from the board. He's the same thing. He's like, I want to smash the board as we go to a race. But also, we've got some more questions coming in. So, guys, get them in the Mixer chat as we kind of head on. We looked at mud last week, okay? And this, I think, 'cause we're by actually the 4x4 place, which is a
We
lot
are in
more
it. Yeah.
mud. Like, how much does it change? Because it seems a lot more crunchy.
it does.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah. So this is I guess winter's version of deformable mud, like deformable snow, which we sort of first had in the Blizzard Mountain expansion, and yeah, there's a bunch of different depths to the deformable snow that you'll find in the game. As Ben said earlier, also, it's not just all snow. There's also some areas in the south which are just frosty. There's roads which are cleared and roads which are not, and roads which are kind of like, I guess British people will recognise this kind of road from when it does snow, as it did earlier this year.
Beast from the East.
The Beast from the East, yeah, absolutely.
Did you kind of, was that kind of like, as a game developer, like the dream moment to happen, especially when you're working Forza Horizon 4, you knew you were having winter in there. Was that just like kind of like a gift where you're like...
If you're working on a game based in the UK with winter in it, then yes,
yeah,
it was...
I mean, it's fair to say that, I mean, every season has kind of been the perfect season this past couple of years. So yeah, it was awesome. And we absolutely went out and didn't just have fun building snowmen. We went out and got...
Is that the snowman that we knocked over earlier? Was that yours? Was that your snowman? We're like, all right, we're going to build a snowman. It's for the game.
I mean, actually, the guys had, they had to do the difficult, painful task of going to that same 4x4 park in the snow to drive it, just because Andy absolutely needed to find out how the cars were handling on a combination of mud and snow.
It was apparently very important to him.
Yeah, it was very important.
I'm not surprised. Did he kind of push for it hard? I need to go. It needs to be right.
Absolutely, yeah. And to be fair to him, he came back with some pretty good reference, and it's made for a pretty authentic experience inside that park. So,
what else? What kind of else did you kind of get from the Beast from the East to kind of put into Forza Horizon 4?
I think the other thing is maybe, like, you remember how long that sort of lasted. Like, quite often in Britain, you get that thing where it snows and then very quickly melts away. But I think because we had that real harsh cold winter, everything froze and stuck around for quite a long time. So we got to experience what that, you got that slushy sort of look to the roads you get in Britain when it starts to melt, which is totally there. But also when you get a real hard frost on tarmac, that's something that we don't necessarily see all that often, but we got to experience lots of it during that particular part of the year. And that's something that we've managed to replicate.
You kind of get the kind of same slipperiness kind of going at that speed as well, because where you have to kind of change your style of driving to kind of compensate for that kind of like ice and that slush.
Absolutely, and there's some other like specific things going on, which I know the car handling guys got really into and made quite a few observations around, which they weren't expecting, which is just the sudden, shocking drop in temperature on the tyres when you hit that snowy surface. Did some really unexpected things to the way the cars were handling inside the physics model. Which gives you this whole new sort of layer of depth to the driving experience in winter in certain areas of the map.
Yeah, and also, because like Ralph, you said it straight from the offset at the start of these streams that winter was your favourite season, right? What is it that makes like winter your favourite?
So I think for me the biggest thing is, I think it's incredibly powerful when a game can change the way it looks completely. I'm sure I'm not alone in loving games, playing games a lot, and then when you absolutely love a game, when you play it a lot, you get super familiar with it. You totally understand every inch of the world that you're playing in, and what this game, and in particular winter within this game, does is on a really regular basis completely change the way the world looks, so that when you return to it, sure, it's the same world that you've been playing in, it's the same roads that you know, but it looks so completely different that it's almost kind of like just refreshing.
Yeah, like I always throw back to playing the E3 demo when you kind of went through that kind of like demo track and you were actually going down the same road, but no one really noticed because it was so drastically different, which is kind of going to be amazing. We saw it with the map as well, which is you guys have actually shared on Instagram and Twitter. If anyone wants to go check that out, go to Instagram or Twitter at Forza Motorsport on Twitter or at Forza Motorsport Official on Instagram, and you can check out the map in winter because it looks so different, just the map from what we saw last week.
And to jump on your point about it, looking super different, you didn't recognise it. I think that's actually true for a bunch of the guys on the development team as well. The first time we did that route and we started working on it, people were surprised when they heard that was the same stretch of road we were using, which was kind of validation for us that it really did feel and look like a very different experience.
And there's the white space again as well, which is always nice to see. But we've got a few, we can get in a couple last questions, guys. So if you've got any last questions, this is your chance to get them in, get them answered by Ralph and Ben as we kind of come up to the end. Because what do we have on next week as well? Because next week is the final season.
It's the final season. It's the final show. What will we do with Tuesday nights after that? We've built up quite a debt, haven't we? We've promised that we will show Edinburgh, so we will. We've promised that we'll show competitive team racing, so we will. I can't remember if we promised any other things, but we almost inevitably
This is the moment where I kind of need to just try and get you to promise more things, because then it's just
well,
so we can then get more things next week.
So yeah, I know obviously it goes without saying, spring. We will be showing spring. I think we'll probably drop the spring map in the same way we have the winter map on social media this next week as well. So there's a ton of stuff coming up in our final show next week.
Well, we also have a poll. What is the wait, hold on, I want to see this poll that's going on. What's your favorite? So guys, we have a poll that's going on right now. What is the favorite season of Forza Horizon 4 that you've seen so far? So you've seen summer, you've seen autumn, and you've seen winter, right? So get involved. Let us know what you think. Which is your favorite? Do you kind of agree with Ralph that winter's your favorite? Because like for me, I really enjoyed summer just because I really like those high-speed races and kind of going along the motorway. I thought was awesome. And also, I think Ben really enjoyed autumn last week because
I do love autumn. Yeah.
You know, all the trees.
Yeah, it's so golden and romantic. Yeah,
it is the one. But we're coming up to the end of the stream today, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed everything. This has been winter. So many awesome new features we've taken a look at. So I think we should just talk about next week as well. Just a little next week. We've got spring next week.
We're doing spring, we're doing Edinburgh, we're doing some competitive team adventure, which is our competitive online mode, and probably some other things as well.
Yeah, so make sure to follow the channel wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on Mixer, Twitch, Twitter, whichever platform you're watching on, make sure to follow so you don't miss out on that next stream. That has been Forza Horizon 4's winter season. Looks exceptional. Hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. That's what you think.
Pretty
and
cool
a big thank
stuff.
you to everyone from
Cool
Playground
stuff.
as well for showing this with us and
Honestly,
sharing it.
I was hoping
I'm
they
so
would go
excited to
over
see
more.
more. We'll see you guys
But
next time. But
it
before
is
we go
what it
as well,
is.
here's a little update of all the previous streams that we've seen. Little video for you guys if you missed the other streams.
Okay.
Bye.
But they only covered two main things. They covered car mastery, so we learned that instead of having a
What's up,
section
guys,
of...
and welcome to the Forza Horizon 4 live stream
This is
from
past stuff.
Playground Games.
I have
I'm
videos
Ralph.
of this on my channel if you guys
felt
want to check it
like
out.
now is the time
But the
we
main
should,
things we
just
learned
start
is that the car mastery,
of this.
now we have skill points for each car. So you buy a car, it has its own section of area where you can spend those skill points you would earn. Instead of having a section outside of it that would give you bonuses no matter what car you're in, now like your favorite cars you can spend your skill points on and have those perks for those cars specifically. Also, when you sell them, those cars I believe are going to retain the perks. Next up is the Forzathon shop. We got to look at the shop, and it seems to hold two cars, wheel spin and a super wheel spin, clothing, and the car horn, different types of car horns. So that's what you have an option to buy from. You have two different vehicles every time, and the rest of it as well. Other than that, though, they didn't cover too much. They just let us know certain things, like some of the water doesn't freeze, some of it does, some of it will completely freeze over, some of it will stay as water. Some roads will be completely cleared off and we'll just have a little bit of frost on them so we can still race hypercars, we can still drift, but it still will affect our handling, which they've mentioned in past streams before. So that's another thing, which is kind of good news for people who are really worried about winter. You will still be able to drive the cars you want. Although I do think winter still could be an issue with a lot of the map being snow. You know, if you want to take out a Centenario or you want to take out your Aston Martin Vulcan, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But overall, it's good news. I just felt like they didn't add a ton this stream. Hopefully we get more information next stream. But even so, I'll still be making a video on this. So if you guys are new, subscribe, hit the bell. I'll have a video breaking down this stuff, as well as live streams. And I'm going to be breaking down, actually I got a video on the crew too. This video is actually, the crew too had a live stream today. They released something that was just absolutely ridiculous. But that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. If you did, feel free to drop a like. I'll be doing this again next week, obviously, on Tuesday. And I can't do a Forza Horizon 3 stream now because I got some videos to make. So whenever there's developer streams like this, it is going to mess up our stream schedule because I want to make videos covering this stuff. There's a lot of brand new information from this stream and a whole lot from the stream on the crew too. They revealed some massive stuff. I think by accident, one of the guys said something and the other two guys just like looked at him, like awkwardly laughed and moved on. But he said something that was incredible, so I literally am making a video on that right now. You guys are definitely going to want to check that out. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Take it easy. Love you guys. Remember, your pain is your strength. I'll let you guys watch the end of this, though.
There's an emergent fun and a character that real people
Actually, let me turn off my camera.
You just can't create with an AI.
Also, Ghost is this really awesome way of just making our online world feel kind of super welcoming to everybody. Because one of the things that is not nice when you go online is people crashing into you, is kind of people griefing you if you're trying to be still or take a photo or something like that. So what also Ghost does is it says if somebody is not your friend, is not in your convoy, and maybe you kind of haven't allowed it, they can't grief you at all. You would just pass straight through them. What happens here is every hour the server says, for anybody who wants to take part in this, get over here, you get the little message, you can set a route there, and a kind of radius appears on the map.
Do skill songs return?
Skill songs, yes, they do very much return. Particular favourite of mine. I will not spoil how you get them because you will unlock them in a slightly different way.
This is inspired from a real-life off-road adventure park, and it's translated really well. It's definitely one of the most fun areas in the game, I think, to play those playground arena-type game modes like Infected and King.
The mud looks incredible.
So there's a system that analyses the whole world for different dips and divots and finds out where water would collect.